Okay, we're alive.
So, it's time to do more development, homie.
Let me actually post this. Oh, you have to remove your old stream message?
How embarrassing.
Okay.
One day, one day Ripcord will load my messages. Here we go.
Ah! I have the AI debug functionality.
Oh shit. Hold on, I haven't even pulled up the stream yet. What do you got? Let me see. Started streaming 89 seconds ago. Oh! You can't spawn XD. Don't do that. Now that is what we call epic.
Penumbra? Are you okay?
Wait, what's wrong with it?
Like upset.
I think the graphic is offset. I will have to take another look when I export it later, because I was noticing it being fucked. It has so many frames, but I can still process them in Photoshop. It'll just take a while.
What? Uh-huh.
Your plane for ground major doesn't seem to be working.
Mine are neither. So something is fucked.
Brutalized. And they're also colliding with each other anyway, so.
Yeah.
One concern I do have about the whole idea about colliding is we're gonna need to find some way to like occlude units, basically.
Mm.
So I think we'll probably have to go through and yeah, we're basically going to need to like draw the outlines of units that are beneath that are obscured by anything. I think there's a way to do it in a classy way that's not like really distracting and annoying.
Mm.
All right, so you handle your plane stuff, and I will.
Oh, I guess that wasn't working since I did the cleave system, actually. Just something I forgot.
Ah.
So yeah, because I added the editor and I didn't add a cleave thing yet to the dev sheet. This doesn't work.
Oh yeah. So you didn't have a tile sheet flag, basically.
Yeah. Have to add that. I do wonder spawn LAN effect. Is this working? It is. Oh. This one is too. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't think you have target selection up.
I do. But it's broken.
Brutalized. Yeah, basically you would have like a class of
I don't think we are doing any other target selection than planes, right? We'll have no can only target the mechanical units.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so that should be fine. Let me see. Projectile.
We will have projectile targeting attacks and stuff. But I guess that means we need
Yeah.
a projectile's death or something. I don't know. Because we need to be able to define HP and.
Yeah, at some point
Yeah.
we'll want to.
Oh, maybe we can just roll that into weapons because we already have speed there for the projectile, as well as all of the
Yeah, I
damage and stuff.
guess. So you're just
So,
at HP.
yeah.
HP is not something I currently support for them, but it will be added at some point,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah. So just hit points like copy the same format
Yeah.
from unit stuff. That'll be funny when I add that field to the website too, and people see hit points on their weapon. Like, what the fuck? I guess anything that was previously chronal should have like pretty high armor pen values.
Yeah. Okay, so targets work now. Let's do.
All right, I've tweaked the armor pen values. I'm gonna now tweak armor values.
Okay.
Do you already have the rule in for weapons dealing minimum 1 damage per hit?
No, but I will add the armor rune rules pretty soon.
Okay, cool. If you were looking for Penumbra, it's entry 15, I think. The fact that shields are going to be more consistent with regular armor will make them a lot more powerful, so it's pretty cool.
How much armor does Damage have?
Does it get any extra from being a thespian?
No.
Currently, it has 2 armor.
Okay, so it's great. Do you have any weapon declared with penetration?
Well, I've just edited all of them without pushing, so I have no idea what I currently have. The Demiurge one is 30 with 5, so...
Oh.
So it should just deal its full damage, if the calc is correct.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It looks like it's, I don't actually know what it's going on there.
Okay, so now it's correct.
Nice. I'm just about done with my armor and health changes.
Cool.
And it's pushed.
Okay. Anything I should be checking?
I guess Vulture versus Dracodon, since that was the topic of conversation before we started the stream.
Yeah, sure. I'll have to implement the categories at some point. Those
Well,
are
it's
pretty
13.
useful.
Yeah, it's 13 and 30. So
Thanks. It's like Vulture's Devanium is broken, but yeah, they stood no chance.
yeah, well, they were also shooting themselves because I don't think units fire projectiles over each other anymore, or yet. I don't know if they ever did.
Oh, they do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely taking a while to kill them. Okay. I don't know if that's if you test that against like infantry, like if you just have a bunch of Mavericks, do they just fucking melt against
Oh, wait.
against vultures?
I guess they had a lot of Mavericks, but
You had way more minerals worth of Mavericks than they had of vultures, yeah.
yeah.
It shouldn't have any reduction on them. They should just kill them in 2 hits. Doesn't look. I don't know if that's actually happening. No, sometimes it's not even making contact. It looks like.
Yeah, they deal way less than they should. I have to wonder why. So damage is 10? And armor is... Oh, I guess...
Oh, you don't have factor. That's why.
Yeah.
Easy fucking fix. I guess that does mean spawning goofball numbers of projectiles, but whatever. I pushed a fix for the Vulture Death anim.
Okay. Yeah, they will just be like the second projectile will not be visible. It will stack right now, so it's not very. It's
It
not
doesn't
looking
really
very
show yet,
interesting right
yeah,
now.
because there basically needs to be a fire delay. So maybe there could be like a factored delay field or something.
Yeah, I thought about it.
That way we don't have to go into fucking spreadsheets and like manually specify. Because that's just operating outside of the weapon's definition.
Yeah, now it seems way more fair, I guess. I still
Oh
probably
yeah,
had
I wasn't
more.
watching the test here. We should go back to Vulture v Drakadin probably and test with this new setup.
Yeah, seems fine. They had a number advantage, and
And even still, you were still able to deal a decent amount of damage to them.
yeah. Well, maybe not the Quasi would win.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't kite yourself into defeat.
Yeah, that's true too. So yeah, it seems to be approachable, I guess.
Yeah, it might not exactly be the fine balance we need, but it seems way less like catastrophic than I was expecting it to be. I'll say that much. So yeah, cool. See, I told you, Veek, armor pen works. Epic.
Yeah, I really like that we don't have sizes and weapon types as a positive change.
I really like we don't have fucking dumb stuff like
Yeah.
factors and fractions and shit for percentages. I mean.
Yeah, for percentages, really what works is only 50% and 25%. Other stuff is just like not intuitive. So yeah.
Agreed. All right, well, I think it's time to get back to work on my end of things. Did we want to mess around with score or anything like that?
I thought we would like auto calculate it somewhat intelligently at some point, but I don't know. It feels pretty weird if it's just like a hard coded number, but I guess it's kind of hard to have ability being accounted for. I don't know.
Check out this formula. That's pretty intuitive, right?
Uh, no, no, no.
Oh, by the way, because all of these, since our weapons rework, all of these units have none new as their air weapon. That counts it as a weapon, and so the game probably thinks that all ground only attackers have an air threat. That's probably explains some kiting psychosis.
Oh, what?
Because the none new is just Gauss rifle.
Okay,
So
that explains a lot.
yeah,
Wow.
I just found that
Ah,
out because I was
no.
looking into the AI actions. Pretty psychotic. I've set it to 0 damage and no targets. Hopefully that will fix something. Let me see if I go into the force now. Yeah, now it's set to 0.
Jesus.
Well, I guess we'll have that in the next Brood War patch.
Wow,
Insanity. Anyway, besides that psychosis, I was actually thinking that for abilities, they would actually have a score influence field, and that would be up to the designer of the ability to decide how much added value the unit has for some sort of like threat or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
So that would be like you could basically take the threat would basically be like the DPS of its weapon, and then I would say that threat value should probably be a stat that we can override if we absolutely need to, but for the most part, it's auto-generated from vital stats, movement speed, weapon stats, and then obviously if they have abilities, you would just have like a manual definition for what the threat, like threat modifier is, or like threat value would be a field for abilities def as well. If it's like a detector, it would go up moderately. And I'm thinking that threat value, the net threat value, would be used as a calculation for kiting cost and stuff, like target cost
Yeah.
and whatnot. And it would probably also mean that when you just issue a generic A move and multiple units are within attack range, they would units would probably pick the. They'd probably start at the unit with the highest threat and then like scale it. But I don't know what you think about that. Like, should they just always pick the highest threat target? Like, say you've got a Maverick and around you is an Ultra Core and a Quasilisk. Should there be a case where we change from just
Mm.
targeting the highest threat unit, which would be the Ultra Core, or
I
should we
mean,
make
if
it so
we
that
would
it
want
always targets the
automation here, we
closest?
would want to target the lowest HP unit, but we
I would
probably
never
don't.
want automation
So,
for
yeah.
in that sense for
So
the
I feel like it
player.
should just be the closest unit because it's
Yeah,
intuitive.
I was thinking that too because I was also thinking that for the AI, for kiting AI or whatever, you'd probably want some situation where the um so you'd probably want them to raise the threat or like lower the targeting cost for units that are closer because that would mean that like, oh, these guys are obviously going to be more threatening to me, assuming
Yeah.
they have a weapon in the first place. If it's just like a transport or something, it won't matter as much. Or if it's like a worker and there are no other combat units nearby, I guess you can target it or whatever, but like I don't know. But then obviously workers have their own target cost multiplication or change up or modifier, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think this is really cool. It's really cool to think about like how we can mostly automate the generation of something like threat, override it with the like a stat if we need to in units def, and then obviously contribute to it with a stat for abilities def. That will also be really nice for any situation where a unit gets a different behavior or ability or something, or if their stats get boosted from some other passive from like a support unit, the stats will automatically be calculated for a new threat. It seems like a very intuitive system, even though it's like technically an invisible stat that's only used for AI and that sort of thing. But it's still, I guess it would also be used for score. That's the difference is there's threat, but then there's also score. So I don't know what you think about like Brood War had build and destroy score as two separate fields in weapons or in unit stat, and they basically just meant it was usually build score was half of destroy score.
Yeah, so we could just auto calc it if we need.
I don't actually know what build score was calculated by. I think initially it was supposed to be like resources spent equaled build score, and then they just doubled that for destroy score. So yeah, if we wanted to calculate it based on that, then that would be like a very basic formula. I didn't follow that formula every time when I was putting in manual score for Cosmonarchy Brood War units, but that's just also just not. I don't even know if that's actually the formula that they used. I just know that, like, for example, it's 50 minerals for a scribe. Their build score is 50, destroy score is 100, and Zealot is 100 minerals, build score is 100, destroy score is 200. That's what it seems like, anyway. Is like. Apparently, the AI will target units with a higher destroy score, though. So I did use this to override like more heavy targeting
Oh,
power. But that is a pretty fun prank. Yeah, we this should just be for scoreboard only. I don't think we need to worry about that.
yeah.
But then we also have to decide, like, do we even want to assign a score value to destroying a specific unit? Like, maybe it would be
Yeah,
helpful to
I don't know.
log how the resources worth of units destroyed as like a field or something.
Yeah, that's
So we could
probably more
basically have
accurate.
like, yeah, when I'm thinking about like units, when I'm thinking about a scoreboard, like I don't really look at stats ever in an RTS, but if I am going to look at the scoreboard after the game, I think it can be useful to say like the when I go to the units tab of the scoreboard and I see like killed X number of units, that tells me one story. But then if I'm fighting a Zerg player or something, that's going to be a very different kill count than if it's a Protoss player. So I want to know like what the resource value was. So like value of units slain would be one option, and that would be literally just their resource value, minerals and gas, or in our case, magmite and hypervials. What does it mean when you have a function that is prefixed with v2?
Vector 2.
Oh, okay.
So basically, to the point.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is basically distance between 2 points squared. So it's not so it's not it's basically distance times distance. Is it cheaper to calculate that?
Yeah.
I will be right back.
You.
Hi.
Hi. Oh shit.
What's up?
I just found something. One sec. I guess at some point we're going to need to do requirements. I don't know how necessary that is right now, though, since we don't have a like a functioning interface for RTS stuff yet.
Yeah, we had a mockup for that somewhere.
Yeah, it's buried in our DMs somewhere.
I'm also trying to look up the definition of, uh, you know, the repeats.
Repeats was it had 3 fields. It was number of repeats. We hadn't decided on exactly how we would do it, but it was like supposed to be offset. So I guess it could just be tiles, and then the offset can be fractional. Because it was number of repeats, distance between repeats, and initial offset were the 3 fields.
Yeah, so it's like I did it here.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
But are those all separate fields, or are they parsed from one
Yeah,
entry?
from one.
Okay, cool. Epic. I don't have any water types right now, but I can do the
Yeah.
edge collision one for the cliff types. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I have to think what we want for air collision, but I guess we don't even have any tiles that would have it, so yet.
It should just go beneath frame width and frame height, right?
Yes.
All right, that's done. I'll push it in a moment. Should be up in a moment, and there it is.
Here.
Also, what do you know? I tripped over and fell into a button that said "Add Legionnaire and Hierophant." So
Ha, nice.
those were pretty easy because the sprite sheets were basically identical. Oh, I have to add the sound effects for the Hierophant attack and death. So give me 1 sec, because it probably won't even launch right now without those. All right, the missing sounds are pushed. And I'll be right back.
Okay.
you.
Hi. Oh, this is huge.
I've returned. What you got?
Cool. I did the tile edge thing, so now the collision is again there. Like,
Yeah.
you can no longer
Just
walk on
through
the
this.
cliffs. Yeah.
Makes sense. Not a feature we necessarily want to have.
I'm not sure why it works from this angle though.
Yeah, but only from the top, but like the sides and bottom don't. That's a bit odd, yeah. Some strange error going on there.
Yeah.
Be right back again. All right, you.
Okay, we have proper collision now.
For cliffs, you mean?
No, for units, we use the collision field.
Ah, cool. I suppose they'll probably still try to endlessly path if they can't actually reach their destination,
Yeah.
which is a bit of an issue. But
Yeah, but
once we
like,
get more complex order set up and stuff, we'll be fine. But that is really nice that we're using collision. I suppose that means it'll be easier for melee units to attack buildings and other large stuff. You could try with the zealot.
I'm not sure about that one, but I will have to make better calculations for range. Let's see. Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Because I'm checking for the range between the center of this and this is like not enough.
Yeah, I think you should just check to see if there's a collision.
But then I would need to hack the thing instead of having like the actual range between. So I will have.
It should never be between the center, though. It should always be between the outermost edge.
Yeah.
Even for ranged attacks.
Yeah, I know. Is Trojan set properly?
Trojan might not be flyer. I don't know.
Fighter?
Not as flags flyer. Air fighter.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened then.
Brutalized as usual. Just takes like 3 iterations to get right.
Okay, now it worked.
Hell yeah.
And this finally works. Wow.
Epic.
Yeah, the ordering isn't very good right now.
I don't think they have splash damage configured in their weapon. Probably one of the reasons why they're
No,
sucking.
I am
Oh, wait,
still.
maybe splash isn't handled yet.
Yeah. The gameplay side of it is not.
Yeah, okay, that's why then.
Which is actually the next thing I wanted to do anyway, so.
Epic. I like how we're just casually implementing like a bunch of features that were not possible.
Yeah.
Well, I added some more units, but the golem can't actually attack. Because of the range thing.
Yeah.
Unless maybe it doesn't have a weapon configured. Let me see. It should be fine though. Oh. It wasn't. Now it all makes sense. Let me try now. Oh yeah, now it works. Okay, so got them added. Let me take a look at what you're doing. Are you doing inner outer or something?
Yeah.
Cool.
Penumbras have AoE?
Let me see in weapons. No, I did not define it. I'll fix that now.
Okay.
If you want to test another one, I just pushed the idol a little while ago, and that has it defined. Land effect has it defined, but it's pretty small. And the Huracan has it defined, but it requires regates, so I don't know if they're doing it. I can push the penumbra for you if you need it.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I pushed. No, I didn't. Okay.
Okay, I have pushed.
Oh, okay. I did not make them tile per. I didn't make them tile based, basically. The inner and outer.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
problem.
An easy fix then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think we ever talked about this, but did we want the vertical position changes to show that units are kind of like hovering or whatever? I'm not really sure if it would look proper in at the higher frame rate or something.
Like hovering in what sense?
Like if you look at the Vulture in Cosmonarchy or any air unit, well, most air units, like the light air units and stuff, like they shift up and down a couple like 1 pixel when they're idle.
Oh,
Yeah. I guess that could be a field or something.
Or maybe just a flag, but field would probably be more precise, so you could control how far the hovered distance and the time, or the range of distance, because it basically cycles between going lower and upper. So it's like 1 pixel lower, then 0 pixel offset, then 1 pixel upper, and then back to 0 is usually how the Brood War stuff works. And then we could do something like that, I guess. It's not that massively important, obviously, but it's just something that I thought about.
okay, this AoE range is kind of ridiculous.
What is?
The AoE range of Penumbra.
Yeah, it's identical to what it was in Brood War. There's a reason they're a tier 3 unit, dude.
Wow.
The third tier is for
I guess it's not accurate.
hey, that Rakuten just appeared.
Yeah, from the gateway.
Well, he was stuck inside it, but yeah.
Yes, because I did not implement building thing yet. It's a separate plane now, so
Oh, right. Okay. So you could just walk through building.
yes.
I do kind of like the visual of a unit like climbing onto a building or something.
Yeah.
Should be reserved, I think.
What the fuck? Oh. Yeah. Also, we should specify if AoE is always safe, I guess.
I still don't really know how to feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I
But-
think everything should be like.
I don't know why any AoE would be like. Obviously, from a functional standpoint, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you have mini unit with AoE, then it would be killing itself always. But I don't know. Maybe that's just how it is.
Well, it just would have to ignore itself, yeah. But obviously, if you have multiple melee units standing next to each other and they have AoE, then yeah, they just kill each other. So, like, it seems like it's just
Yeah, like
untenable
if
to try
you're
to-
using Huracan and Zephyrcurse, for example, or like even
well, just Harakans with each other. If
Yeah.
they're like slightly offset, they get fucked. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. So yeah, I guess we'll have to specify in the weapon. We can do like splash type, or maybe there could be a weapon flag, and one of them can be ally _ safe. I don't know what you think.
oh yeah, sure.
Because we might have other weapon flags. I'm sure we will, like fly to max range or whatever.
Yeah.
And like
Or
pierce.
follow that we have already.
Yeah. So converting that to flags would make sense. I can do that in a sec. I actually removed all references to follow and forgot to add it back. So that's might be an issue.
Well, if you want the people Broodwar thing, then yeah. But if we just want the new default, which is don't follow by default unless explicitly stated, then it's fine.
I was thinking, yeah, we don't want it to follow unless explicitly stated. But I was also thinking that basically projectiles would fly to the position of the target when the target was sitting there. So, like, obviously the default is like fly and don't follow. My thinking is fly and don't follow, and if you... I don't know how to feel about this, but I kind of think that maybe if the default is that other units can meat shield and intercept like all projectiles, that might if it's targeted on a plane and there's another unit of the same plane like in front, I kind of wonder if maybe that should actually be the default, or if they should just ignore the target, because then that obviously adds a lot more positional gameplay to the
Can you explain it again?
Yeah, so basically the idea is that if you have a golem in front of your ecclesiast, and I've got a bunch of mavericks, and I target your ecclesiast, if you go with what I was just proposing, the golem would intercept projectiles intended for the ecclesiast because they're on the same plane, and the target is just
Yeah, that's what I had, and I thought you didn't want it. But
Yeah, well,
it does
was-
seem positional and like cool.
It does. It adds an element of positional gameplay, to
And
the
it actually adds
interactions
value to
between-
tanky units. Like additional, like you can have explicit tank classes now with that system, where they just like are big and sturdy.
So the concern I have with the idea of units always intercepting projectiles unless like a homing trait is added as like a behavior.
Yeah.
The only concern I have is that, like, okay, for one, it actually pigeonholes frontline units to a situation where they will always take damage first.
Yeah.
And that means that, like, that kind of naturally gates how successful they can be as, like, standalone fighters themselves. I think might be less of an issue than I'm thinking, because it only interacts this way with if you have a unit that is on a plane. So if a unit is ground minor, and then you've got another unit that's ground minor, and they're attacking each other, then like any ground minor unit, basically the attack intended for a ground minor unit can be blocked by another ground minor unit. But if you have a ground major unit, should that also be able to block it? Should that take precedence because it's bigger? Like, does kind of
I feel like it
introduce more
should,
issues.
because like if you have, for example, a major unit, it could also like block an air attack, right? Like unless until we, assuming we are using the Titanic rules.
It wouldn't block
So
all air attacks. The thing I'm thinking is that the biggest unit. So the unit of the, if the target is a ground attack, sorry, if the target is against a ground unit, then it would sort through ground major, then probably then structure, and then hover, and then ground minor.
I don't think that would be a common case though. Like if something is flying, it will just hit the first thing it hits, and like it's probably impossible for it to hit like two things at once. I mean,
No, what
maybe
I'm
not
saying,
impossible, but
I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about a situation where you target a unit that is behind a major unit or a structure. It would still take precedence.
yeah,
It would still collide with the bigger thing first.
yeah, because it's
Whereas if
closer.
it's specifically targeting a major unit or a structure, it would not collide with a minor unit because it's specifically targeting a major unit. So it's shooting farther up. And that's kind of what I'm saying, is that there's like way more complexity here if we go with this approach. I mean, it doesn't have to be. We can just make it collide with the first thing, but that reduces some of the significance of the planes in the first place. Because I'm thinking that if you fire off an attack and it's meant for a major unit, it should really only be able to hit other major units because you're theoretically firing above where the other units would even be standing. But this makes a lot more sense in a 2D or a 3D environment or something, not in a 2D environment. It's harder to visualize that.
Yeah,
Because you can't visualize like projectile arcs or whatever, so you can't, or like the height that they have. I guess you could like change the shadows that they're casting, based on like how high up they are or something like that. But it's or like if you had like you could render out sprite sheets where they have a facing angle for flying straight and then a facing angle for flying up at an angle. So you could basically like change their tilt or something. For projectiles. So I guess you could do that to help visualize. It does seem like a pretty fucking nightmarish thing though to try to scale. So I think I'll shelve that idea for now and we'll think about it later.
okay.
And for now we can just go back to we can keep the idea that we have now, which is conventional. Just if I target a unit, the projectile will go to that unit.
Yeah. Unless the unit escapes, then it will just like.
Yeah. So if the unit, because my thought was that it would fly to the unit's position instead of following, that means that it would then when it reaches its ending point, it would detonate and grab the nearest unit to it if there is a unit within.
Yeah, basically, if there's collision with something else instead.
Yeah, if it's colliding with something when it detonates, it would deal damage to that unit, whatever the nearest unit was. Because most attacks aren't AOE. If it's AOE, it just deals damage in the area. But if it's not AOE, then it would be like a Maverick bullet, intended for one unit collides with another in its last moment. And well, I guess that's kind of a hard thing to imagine because the Maverick bullet moves so fast. But that's kind of the point of it. But so a Gladius projectile would probably make more sense. Although they bounce, so whatever. Something slow moving. You could see it happening. Meanwhile, Chalk says Delta compression. Sup, homie?
Hi.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anytime you say hi in a comical way, I just remember I'm dying.
Okay, we have achieved Broodware technology. We can use kill now.
Amazing.
I just spawned some units and was like, without even thinking, I typed "you kill" because I wanted to
Yeah.
kill something. So I guess that was a sign that I wanted that feature, so I did it.
There you go. You did it.
This is what I really want. Is this? Or maybe... I can have one for killing and one for removing, so... if I want to test, like, the death triggers, I can do it, but if I want to just remove something, I can do it too. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay, so I don't really have that much time anymore, but I guess for the end we can probably talk about something. I don't know. What do you think?
Sure.
Well, I am really glad that we were able to do so much with the dev files. That's
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
cool. We also have the enums, which I only briefly talked about, but if I type enums in console,
You might want to look at
it will
the.
generate them here, which is really cool, I think.
Yeah, nice. You might want to look at my DM because I have an issue launching now, and I don't know what's causing it. I haven't actually seen this error before. I can't figure out what the file name is either.
Can you push it?
Yeah.
There's a no turn error, but I know it was there anyways. You can see it in output.
Should I try removing no turn from something? I don't know what file it actually is.
It's sprite sheets line 3660. And it's missing a 1. But I guess we should just convert it to a flag as well. But for the crash thing, I don't know, you pushed it?
Not yet. That's weird because all I did was reorganize the. I didn't even touch this file actually, so or this particular sprite sheet. That's really strange. All right.
Yeah, that's an older though. So I don't know what the sprite sheet thing is.
No, I just looked at what line 3660 is.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's Wraith weapon fire, which I haven't touched at all. So I will build your latest stuff and test again to see if I could launch.
Okay.
Would be nice to minimize these load times. That's for sure.
Yeah. Making it multi-threaded would be the first step, I imagine. And I don't know. Doing some optimization so I don't load the same like sound files twice. Would also be a thing that I should do.
Now it's saying line 4026, which doesn't even exist in the file. So I guess I'll just have to push this so you can look at it, because I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's probably just a byproduct of bad error handling or lack of error handling. The last line is no turn 1, and there's no enter space. Maybe it needs a new line character or something. I'm pushing it now anyway. All right, it's up. I guess it might be that I've misdefined some image width and height somewhere, but I don't actually know. Or frame width and height, rather.
No, that's not related.
Oh.
Oh, or maybe this.
Well, it's crashing on some lookup thing or read thing for width and height.
Yeah, because the start y is negative, which shouldn't happen.
The start what?
Start y this variable. It's for like, it's used for calculating the real size of the image. But the frame height is just bigger. I'm trying to figure out which spreadsheet is it. 128, which is prototype spreadsheet names. It's Ecclesiast weapon heat. It has too much too much frame height.
No. Didn't touch it.
Or the image is broken? I don't know. What?
You're sure it's Ecclesiast and not Exemplar? Ecclesiast is 64 by 640, or 640 wide, and it's got 10 images, so it is correct. 64 by 64. Your version looks like it has it. Oh no, that was a different one. Okay, yeah, that's perfectly correct. Oh, I see what happened. I'll push a fix.
What was it?
I just didn't rename the exemplar weapon hit, which I copied from the Ecclesias.
Oh.
Should
Oh,
probably just
yeah.
yell at us on duplicates.
Yeah, Duplicates shouldn't be allowed, obviously. I will have to add it at some point.
I'm gonna just throw it in the to-do list or whatever. It looks like it launches fine now. I'll see if the new units work. So yeah, what do you think about besides like error handling and stuff, which we keep bumping into?
Yeah, but we are like improving it, so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Dev files.
I think the up next is probably abilities.
Prevent duplicate. Yeah, I think so.
It would also be nice to have overlay support for the local overlay support for engines and stuff. And then I guess you still need to do structures colliding with all ground units. Unless you already did that and I haven't built the latest stuff, so let me try that. No, yeah, it's still like that. Okay. So yeah, very nice progress, I think.
Yeah, good stuff. I can wait till we have the demo. Actually, like I feel like we're like about a week away from it, or something. For like the basic multiplayer stuff, I guess the AI is nowhere done, but that's probably what we can do
mostly
later.
need pathfinding and ability support, as well as polishing off the existing unit additions.
Yeah.
And then obviously the oh, you wanted me to go find you the mock-up for requirements.
Yeah. Okay, so I do actually have to go in a few minutes, so
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be closing the stream for now. So we didn't have many active viewers, but the VOD is still there, so probably someone will look at it. And yeah, that was a nice session. See you guys later.
See you, homie.